let's do something fun today. I wasn't sure what to call this video at first. I guess it's kind of a book haul because I did get like a large collection of books, but this time it's anime manga related. So I guess it's a manga haul, but it's not all manga, it's light novels. So it's like manga light novel haul, but it's not huge. It's just a couple of books because I'm not that rich, but I did like splurge on a couple of things in the past month, and I thought I'd share my opinions with you because I haven't done a book related thing or an anime related thing in a while, other than Love Live, of course. So, well, there's no other way to put it. So, I put these books into three categories based on like my enjoyability level and based on the would I recommend this to my fellow companions or my fellow followers. So, to start with, I'm gonna go with the category I'd like to call wouldn't really touch upon these series ever again, even if I was given the chance to. So, the first book I plucked out from Barnes and Noble because for some reason the title and the cover stuck to me. It's called The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten. The story's about two next door neighbors. One is this girl right here. Her name is Mihiru. Or, no, Mahiru, my bad. I suck at Japanese. She's gorgeous. She's very athletic. She's basically a straight A student. Like, she's perfect in every way possible. And the main character of the story calls her an angel because, well, she's downright perfect. Or so we think. And then there's the main character named Amane, who is kind of, okay, the book calls him a slob, but I wouldn't call him that. He's just very disorganized. He's living by himself. He's very boring. He calls himself very average. And based on what I read, yes, he's very, very, very average. So the whole plot of the story is these two meet, and basically Mihiru, or not, why am I saying that? Mahiru, basically, it sounds like she falls head over heels for Amane for whatever reason, and based on what the title is, she basically does everything for him. When she finds out that he doesn't know how to do any house chores, she teaches him how to do chores. She helps him out with homework. She basically comes into his life and changes it for the better, quote unquote. While Amane's just there, like, she's like, oh my god, why? She's so perfect. Why is she doing this for me, sort of thing. The start of it was like, okay, we're getting down to the premise of it all. It's kind of interesting. Like, I thought I'd read onto it. But the more chapters I've read, because this is actually a light novel, not a manga, and they do have a couple of like visuals in here that are actually pretty nice. So you would think for like a smut like romantic comedy, people would be like, oh, I watched this just like Fly Me to the Moon or something like that, or just like Blue Spring Ride or whatever it is. But no, this light novel series, or based on the first volume I read, is very boring. It's like, for a romance anime, it's supposed to show you, whether it's in manga, anime, or in novel form, they're supposed to show you like why you want the two romantic leads to get together. For the case of this, you want to know why Amane and Mahiru get together. You want to know what makes them click, what makes them have chemistry. These two barely have chemistry. It's like, oh, this most beautiful girl in the world lives next door to me, and for some reason she chose me to like fawn over. And then as the two also get to know each other like throughout the series, it's kind of like I'm not sure if Amane feels absolutely anything except for the fact that it's, oh, this perfect girl is fawning over me for some reason, and I only like her because she's really pretty and I was told she's perfect and stuff like that. That's not really chemistry. That's just like, oh, I was thrust into this situation whether I liked it or not. And I know romance is very unexpected, and it's like, oh, love comes to you when you least expect it, and when it does, you're gonna feel super great about it. And in most like romance movies and TV shows and novels and stuff like that, you do have it working out at the end, but there's usually a reason why the two click so spontaneously. There's a reason why the two would work together. I cannot understand why these two would even want to get together. And maybe it's because this is just a first volume out of. This is a pretty new series too, so I don't know. I think they're gonna continue on with this. For if it's a light novel series, I would think that there are already clues from the first volume that tell you why the couple should get together, but I just didn't get it, and I felt so bored reading it. Like, the more chapters I've read in this, the less I started to care, and the more I wanted to drop it, but I decided to read the whole thing because I'm not a pleb. So, but, I was very disappointed in this. So, would I recommend this to anybody? I mean, if you're really into romance and you just want to read something, like, simple, I guess this would be fine, but if you're looking for something with deeper meaning into it, no, you're not going to find this here. The second one I highly won't recommend reading, and I kind of just skimmed right through this because from the first chapter of this manga, I was like, oh my god, seriously? Are we doing this? It's called Failed Princess. If you haven't guessed by the cover already, this is a shoujo ai romance. And if you also have not looked at the cover, it's about a very popular beauty queen girl who gets into a friendship with this nerdy girl right here. Nanaki is the popular girl, who it's this one right here. And Kanade is the nerdy one right here. So Nanaki and her friends pick on Kanade at first because, oh, she's a nerd, oh, she's not really perfect, she wears glasses, she doesn't wear makeup and all that stuff, you know, typical high school nonsense that no one cares about, especially in 2021. Nanaki, who was kind of in a like on and off affair relationship with this guy who was apparently already in a relationship, as she was just the side chick, or I don't know if it was a relationship at all, he's just getting with a bunch of girls. Nanaki gets dumped by him, and she thought, oh, I thought I was going to be his main girl, but apparently she wasn't. She gets really upset, but then Kanade ends up walking in on her completely upset, but because Kanade was the only person who would, well, not exactly make fun of her for the situation, but she's just there to comfort her, because Nanaki's like very down on her luck and everything. Kanade tries to cheer her up the best way she can, even though technically Nanaki's kind of a bully, but she's not really her main bully. She's kind of like the friend of the person or the people who do bully her, in a sense, like gossip about her behind her back. And this is where they start a friendship, and as you all know, with series like this, further down the line, they're gonna get into a relationship, because with a cover like that, how is this not a romance? This kind of reminds me of Citrus, except it's no incest, which, I mean, I do appreciate. I mean, if you want a series like Citrus, where it's like the popular girl goes out with like, or like the beauty queen popular girl goes out with like a nerd, aka the student council president or whatever, like, I think Failed Princess would be the one for you, but I'm not really a person who likes the beauty princess goes gay for like this nerdy, like shy type, like outsider type. Like, I'm not really a person who really goes for that series, because it's really, I don't know what it is lately, but this series kind of feels fetishy. Like, you know, those Yuri series that really feel like a fetish, and it's not a real romance, it's just there for the sake of like girl on girl love that all the boys drool over, or all the girls drool over even. Yeah, this kind of feels like that, and it kind of made me feel, even though it's just the first volume, I don't have any other volumes, even though they did have them at the store, it kind of made me feel gross just to pick this up, and I really did not appreciate that. So, I mean, look, if shoujo ai is for you, like, if you want to pick this up and read it, you go for it. it's just not for me. Okay, so the next category that I have is basically series that I feel like, yes, I would continue them, but would I purchase them for my own collection? No. Like, I would pick these books up, like, at the library, if they have them at the library, which I don't know if they do because, these books are kind of recent, and my local library has more, like, old stuff, or if it is new stuff, it's, like, of the popular anime series that are airing already. Like, it took them a while for them to, pick up Demon Slayer, but then all of a sudden they had like Demon Slayer books like in the stores. Yeah, my library's kind of like that. So the first one that caught my eye, and maybe this is because this is the type of person that I am, whenever I see like manga series of a retro property that I've heard of before, I pick them up. So the first one that I saw that came to mind and that I thought was kind of interesting was Magical Angel, Creamy Mommy, and the Spoiled Princess. I don't know how many of you know about the original Creamy Mommy, but basically Magical Angel Creamy Mommy, the original from the 80s, is a magical girl story about a little child girl who can transform herself into a beautiful magical idol, and she basically saves the world and all that stuff. You know, it's a magical girl series. What did you expect to happen? This manga right here is actually a spin-off of the original that, again, that came out in the 80s, and I think the original manga, that the Japanese translation, came out in like 2018, I believe, because this is the English translation came out I think last year. But except the spin-off is more focused on the rival character right here. It's kind of about Creamy Mommy, but kind of not really. She's not really the main focus. It's this girl right here. Her name is Megumi. Like, she is basically a real life girl who is an idol for a company, but ever since her company discovers Creamy Mommy, like, just performing a concert one day, they basically kind of drop Megumi's activities for Creamy Mommies to make them popular, and Megumi doesn't like that. She basically wants to find Creamy Mommy and basically try to figure out what's this girl's secret. But of course, because she's a magical girl and who is a tiny, like, elementary schooler in real life, it's weird antics. Like, I would say that this manga is very much for children. It says all ages 10 plus for some reason. I mean, first of all, if it's for all ages, why do you have 10 years old up? I guess, like, I feel like, yeah, if you're an elementary school kid and if you want to show them, like, introduction to anime or introduction to manga, the Creamy Mommy series is definitely one for them. It's, like, it doesn't have any, like, harsh, like, topics for them, like, it's cutesy, but for the right reasons. This kind of makes me want to find, like, the original Creamy Mommy anime series and watch that, because I don't know if I could ever find the manga anymore for this, but, I thought this was cute. For a first volume, I thought it was okay, but would I buy the second one? No. I mean, but if I find it in the library, or if I find it somewhere for free, would I like to read it? Sure. Like I said, if you're into magical girls and if you know someone very much younger than you, a child who would be interested in stuff like this, I would say go ahead. But if you're an adult who's more into, like, I don't know, like Madoka Magica level magical girl, this is not it. So the other one that I would like to continue but not purchase for myself, but it's also kind of borderline, maybe I would buy the whole thing because I'm that intrigued. It's called Fiance of the Wizard. So this story is about a normal, I think she's like the heir to the throne, or yeah, she's like a princess who is introduced to her uncle's protege, not son, but protege, a young wizard boy named Eddie, and from their childhood, they are betrothed to be married, of course, when they come of age. And of course, when they're kids, when they announce this, I think her name is Philemina. Philemina is really excited for this because, you know, typical girl, like, oh, I'm gonna marry a wizard, it's really cool, and this will save my country, sort of thing. Even though she kind of doesn't know that. But Eddie at first, he's like, oh, this girl's really cute, I'll protect her. But of course, it jumps to many years later when they're finally of age, but Eddie has to go to, like, wizardry school, you know, to continue his, like, magic training. And he comes back. It's almost like it's approaching the day of their wedding. and Eddie is a completely changed person. Like, something happened that Eddie's like, I have no interest in this princess anymore. And even though they got along very well in their childhood, especially with Philomena, he looks at her now with like complete disgust and annoyance. Even though she kind of doesn't do anything wrong, she's just like, what the heck happened to you? But she's very optimistic about it. Like, she's kind of naive, but she's also like, I know that the you I met many years ago is in there. It's like she's a gullible optimistic. That's what I like to call her. And she's kind of like Toru from Fruits Basket, but because she's not annoying, but I can see how she can be annoying to some people. Like, some of you may not like this series already, but as I'm describing it. But for some reason, look, I'm not really into arranged marriage things. Like, there are a ton of like novels out in the real world that talk about arranged marriage, and I really don't like that trope because it's like they have no connection whatsoever. But whenever there's an arranged marriage series where there obviously is a connection with the characters, it intrigues me. Like, I'm borderline on whether I should buy this series for myself, but maybe if I donate this to my library and they collect more books of it, or if they have the books for a very cheap price, because this was like $13. I don't think I'm ever spending $13 on another manga volume ever again, unless if it's of a volume that I actually really enjoyed. Like, for example, I actually have the first volume of Say I Love You because it has the kissing scenes between the main characters in it that I really, really endured, especially from the anime and manga form, so that's why I bought that. The volume has to really intrigue me in order for me to put it on my bookshelf. Like, I'm not a manga completionist because, first of all, these are expensive. But if you want to buy the whole like manga collection of One Piece, forget it. That is, unless you're Kim Kardashian or Justin Bieber rich, that'll be absolutely impossible to keep on your bookshelf. So I'm more the person of, I keep them if I really like them. So I want to continue this series to see where it goes, but I'm not a person who's going to collect everything, if you understand what I mean by that. So now we're going to get to the stories that I really enjoyed and that I'm going to definitely put on my bookshelf. And I'm never going to give these away. One of them is, I think this turned into an anime recently, or I've heard of this anime recently. Okay, this came out in 2019, so yeah, that's very recent. It's called Ride Your Wave. Why is my camera being awful today? You could barely see this. For those of you who don't know what Ride Your Wave is, it's a tragic romance kind of thing where this surfer girl right here meets a I think part-time or full-time fireman, and they fall in love, and it's like they try to build up their relationship, but the girl, Hinako, is kind of unsure of things, and she's like, she doesn't know if the relationship's gonna go that far. Like, she's not a person to like be sure of anything, but when it comes to surfing, she's very, very confident in it. Like, it's this manga is not that long. Like, the reason why it looks very thick is because it has some like a lot of bonus material in it, but the actual story itself, because Ride Your Wave is actually a movie, not a TV series, and it took me like a couple of rereads to understand what fully happened inside it. And I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't read this, because this is definitely a manga or the anime movie that you have to watch / read for yourself, because it's, in a way, it's that beautiful to read. And it's very heartbreaking also, because I don't want to spoil it, but it's not exactly a happy manga as you see on the cover right here. It's actually really not that happy. It's one of those heartwarming stories where it's like, it's a coming of age finding yourself tale. It's a story that teaches you is like, appreciate what you have before it's gone. And I definitely do want to reread this like at every chance I get, so I am definitely keeping this one. And I highly recommend it to anyone who likes a romance story that has a lot more depth to it than, well, say this. So, depth romance, you have one right here. Okay, so this one is the biggest manga that I purchased, and it's like, it's a thick AF thing, because this is a it's kind of like, one of those manga books where it's like, oh, if it's not that many volumes, they'll just put it in one giant omnibus volume. This is definitely it, and it's called I Had That Same Dream Again. Okay, if I thought Ride Your Wave was very emotional, this story is definitely something else. It's about a elementary school girl who kind of doesn't really have that many friends, except for this one boy in her class who's constantly being bullied for whatever the heck. Oh no, not for whatever the heck reason. His father actually was arrested for shoplifting, so they're making fun of him for that. And because this is Japan, it's kind of like they have this thing where it's like, oh, if your family member does something wrong, the whole family's kind of cursed. So she's the only one who's nice to that boy, but this girl, the girl on the front cover, she's also like a complete outsider. So she only, other than that boy, she has like three and a half other friends. Like if you count the cat that's on the cover, yeah, that's the half. So the friends that she has, quote unquote, is a woman who's like, how do I say this in the most politically correct way possible? She's kind of a escort. So, but she calls her a name that I will not repeat on this video because I don't like using that word. It's gross. So she's friends with a blonde escort, and her other friend is an older woman. Of course, if you're friends with like an older woman you don't really know, but you show respect, you call her, I think it's Obasan. And though, of course, the older woman is an artist, and she goes to her house all the time to see her paintings. And then I don't know how to describe the last friend that she has without triggering people, because it's basically this girl who is a high school student who she's depressed, and also another outsider, and she kind of does things to herself that, of course, the main character on the cover stops her from doing. Again, I don't want to trigger anyone by saying the real term for it, because I didn't put a trigger warning at the front of this video, so I don't feel like doing that. Basically, the one question that this whole series presents to you is, what exactly is happiness? And that is the project that this girl is working on. I think it's an essay sort of thing, where she has to write a essay or do a project about what exactly is happiness. And this girl kind of doesn't know what it is because her parents are always busy. She doesn't really have many friends her age, so she's not popular. It's like she kind of doesn't know exactly what it is, but through the three other people that I talked about, she discovers and understands what that happiness is. And I can't really spoil this one for you either, because this is also a book done in a metaphorical sense, more metaphorical than Ride Your Wave per se. But I highly recommend this as a read. Like, if you can find this anywhere, like, I found this whole omnibus book at Barnes & Noble, so if you find this at your Barnes & Noble or your library somewhere, I highly suggest that you read it. This is one of the deepest, like, almost heart-wrenching, but also at the same time relaxing books I've ever read. But again, if you're a person who's triggered by certain things, go into this book with caution, because it does kind of have that, even though it's a grade schooler main character, but on the back it says this book's highly recommended for teenagers. So I would not recommend this to young readers per se, because it does have certain suggestive themes in it, but they're not themes that are gory or graphic. Well, okay, I lied. Like the one with the high schooler that I talk about, but it's only that one instance and it never happens again, which I find completely and totally bizarre. But once you get past that, the rest of the book is fine. Like the rest of the series, it's great. Like I read this all in a day because I was highly intrigued by it. And the last book that I have is actually also based on an anime movie, because I think the movie came first. No, I think it's the manga, the movie, and then the light novel version came out. It's 5 centimeters per second, but It also includes the other story written by Makoto Shinkai, The Children Who Chase Lost Voices. Why did I almost forget the title? Oh yeah, because the second story is not that memorable at all. But if you liked 5 centimeters per second, I think you would like the light novel as well. It's about the 5 centimeters per second is about 2 kids who meet in elementary school, and they are the best of friends, a boy and a girl. But then all of a sudden, as they get older, they start to separate, and of course when they're in their adulthood, they reunite in some way, and they're just reflecting on their past friendship and how it diverged in a way. If you look at the front cover, yeah, it's kind of that story. Again, it's another one of those. I'm like on a deep trip lately. It's like I really like series that have like deep meanings to them and kind of make you think about life. I mean, there are also series that are like dumb fun too, but lately the stories that have been hooking me are the ones that are very deep, like like you have to think about it in order for you to enjoy it kind of way. Like this is kind of almost like Soul, but anime, like in your childhood version. Like I highly recommend the 5 centimeters per second. Again, I can't spoil the ending for anyone because maybe you haven't watched 5 centimeters per second. Maybe you haven't read the manga. Maybe you never read this yet. So I'm not going to do that. But this is also one that makes you think. And if you like something that makes you think, 5 centimeters per second is for you. Would I recommend you the Children Who Chase Lost Voices? It's more of a fantasy mystery story, and I kind of didn't enjoy it as much because it kind of did not make any sense to me, or I was not expecting it. I mean, this is what it looks like on the back. Again, sorry for the horrible camera quality, but this is basically supposed to be the Children Who Chase Lost Voices. Like, it's about a girl who meets a boy who claims to be from a magical universe, and of course, when they become friends, all of a sudden the boy dies. It's said to have died, and then all of a sudden his brother shows up to inform her of this. But he also wants to bring her to the magical world to understand how it works. But I was super bored by this story. Like, I don't think I liked it at all. Like, unlike 5 centimeters per second, I don't know what it is. It just didn't really click for me, or maybe it's because it kind of goes by fast, the second story. So I was kind of lost most of the time. I was like, okay, what happened? Like, first of all, I didn't know the kid died. Like, even though I read the summary, I'm like, oh, he's supposed to vanish. Okay, but I didn't know he died until like they blatantly say it. So it's kind of like, if you really like fantasy stuff, maybe you should get the double collection, or if you find the story somewhere, I recommend you read it. But I've been having trouble with finding good fantasy books lately, or fantasy stories lately. I feel like they're all linear and similar lately. So if you guys have any like fantasy recommendations, please shoot them my way. I will try my best to keep my focus and composure while reading it. So that's it for the book haul today. I hope this video didn't last too long. But if you guys did enjoy it, please hit the like button down below. And if you have any comments about what I said in the video, or if you have any manga or anime recommendations, I highly suggest you put them in the comments. If you guys want to follow me to see what I'm doing outside the whole YouTubes, I have all my social media down in the description box below. And if you want to catch up with my latest videos and you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you'll know whatever video comes next will be posted. I'm Cait Cher, and it's been real. Ciao!